Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Tuesday, August 7th, 2012. Let's get right into the charts here. There's a lot to cover. First, we're going to start off with the usual S&P 500 E-mini futures. Futures are trading higher this morning by 5.25 points to 1395 and a quarter. A decent little pop there for the futures. You can see that the futures earlier had moved down to around the 1391 level. However, have since climbed back up. That usually tells us one thing, that the U.S. dollar index is starting to fall, and sure enough, that is the case this morning. Take a look at the dollar here. You can see how the dollar rallied up and then has since made new lower lows, headed toward that $82 even number level. So once again, the dollar down, market up, and that's pretty much the gist of it. If the dollar continues to fall, expect the stock markets to inflate and trade a little bit higher. We also see the same thing for the euro this morning. If you take a look at the euro currency, and I'll pull that up in just a second here, first thing you'll notice is that the euro is catching a nice bid. Dollar down, the euro goes up as well. So that's pretty much what we're looking at across the board. Decent little move up in the euro, pretty sharp move down, or decent move down in the dollar, and equities, the stock markets are catching a bid. So that's what you have to watch for. We'll see how this plays out once the opening bell rings. I'm not sure if we have a lot of economic news out today, but I know we do have some news out this afternoon regarding, I believe, consumer credit report and consumer credit. That will be out about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So no real news reports coming out prior to that. There is some news out of Italy. It looks like Italy did report a confidence vote. I guess they're going to cut 4.5 billion euros in spending. So I'm not sure if that's going to be all that much of a big deal, but nonetheless, that is out. Also, their GDP contracted, I believe, 0.7% in the second quarter. So that's not really that good. But nonetheless, the markets do not seem to mind as long as there's bailouts in the works. Markets seem to be rejoicing it. Italy is trading up this morning, or the MIB is trading up 1.17%, and the IDEX 35, which is Spain, is trading up around 1.5% at the moment. The FTSE 100 is the only European index that I see lower, and that's basically flat this morning. You do have the German DAX up about 0.5%, and the CAC 40 also trading higher by about 0.8%. So that's what we're looking at across the board. Europe does not seem to be worried, at least not yet. We'll see how the market trades out once the opening bell rings in another hour and 5 minutes. So let's take a look at a couple of other things out here. We'll talk about gold and oil. Right now you have gold trading up $1 to $1,618 an ounce. So gold is up. Let's take a look at the GLD. GLD, once again, is trading right around this 156.64 level. Basically closed just 25 cents lower yesterday. Not a big deal. As long as the dollar moves lower, gold should hold up. If the dollar starts to catch a bid, I would expect gold to pull back. Again, those two trade inverse to each other. Oil is trading up 34 cents to $92.54. Now, oil is not getting a lot of attention these days, but it is back above the $90 level. And you could see even the USO today trading right back up to this 34.50 level. Pretty decent little pop. Again, I think resistance still is around the 35 area for the USO, so we'll watch that pretty closely going forward. Something else worth noting that we don't talk about is the UGA, which is the United States Gasoline Fund. If you take a look at a daily chart here, you'll see that gasoline really since late June has really surged from $45 all the way up to $56 on the United States Gasoline Fund. So that's a pretty sharp move in a really short span. And people are probably going to start noticing that oil at the pump, or gas at the pump, is starting to creep up more and more. This does have more upside to go as well. So again, resistance would be around 57 if you ask me. But gasoline has started to creep higher as well going forward. All right, let's take a look at some stocks in the news today, since the markets are trading higher really across the board. First, I'm going to start off with Chesapeake Energy. This is everybody's favorite nat gas stock out there. Again, the stock's trading around $18.50 a share. I don't know if you can make much out of this. It still looks like it's got to get above the $19 level with some conviction. I'm not sure if it does that, and then the stock could have more upside. I would say $20, and then ultimately around the $21.50 to $22 level. But there's just a lot of resistance here, and this is just a small little gap up. I'm not going to make too much out of it. It would need to show me more on the charts for me to say, hey, this is this stock looks like it wants to move sharply higher. So I'd be careful with Chesapeake right here. I wouldn't do much with it. I'd feel better about it if it closed above the $19 level on a closing basis. Then I'd re-examine it. But there's not a lot you could do with this one here. Let's take a look at Boston Properties, ticker symbol BXP. I believe they had earnings. Boston Properties is trading pretty steady. Closed yesterday at 113.17. Today it's trading right at the same level. So can't make too much out of that. Stock still holding up okay. Next symbol I have on the charts here is Elon, ticker symbol ELN. They were in the works to make some type of drug, but got a bad, I guess it was a bad trial or something like that. Stock is getting hit pretty sharply today. There's not a lot you could do with this one. Right now, I think that the stock is into some support around 978, but the next support level for this thing will be all the way down to $8.47. After that, it will be $7.02. And after that, it goes all the way back down to $4.26. So be careful with the drug stocks. This one could see some bounces in between here, so I would watch that 847 level and 702. There are possibilities of getting some small bounces. It's a low price stock, so it's hard to say what kind of bounce you would get off of that, but there will be support there. Let's take a look at CF Industries, everybody's favorite ag stock. The stock rallied up pretty decently earlier, but has since come back. Closed yesterday at 203.46. I'm not seeing a lot here. If this fails to hold, this stock could trade lower. The next support level that I see, should it break the 190 level, really would be all the way down to the 180 level. So I don't think there's a lot to do, but I do think there's a lot of support at 180 for CF Industries if it does get there. If it moves higher, let it go higher, because who knows where it could go. I can't figure that one out right now. But if it does fall, 180 is an attractive level for a bounce. Let's take a look at Fossil. This is an apparel maker. Looks like Fossil's catching a big bid. It was just last quarter that the stock got hammered to the downside. Today it's catching a nice bid higher. There are some levels here you want to watch for Fossil. Right now it's trading at 82.85. I guess there's going to be some resistance here, but I would watch the 92.03 level. I think that's going to be a key resistance point if the stock could get up there. I don't know if that even happens. Still 10 points from here, so most likely it doesn't happen. There is decent resistance around this 82 area, but the stock is above it in the pre-market, so it could trade higher. The only resistance level I see worthwhile right now would be around the 92 level or pierce of 92, and then the 95.50 level. Both are fade. You could fade this stock at those levels, but other than that, there's not a lot you could do with this one at the moment. Let's take a look at CVS. This is CVS Caremark. This is the drugstore chain. Again, nice little pop there, 46.04, catching a pretty good little bid. Right now, I think the stock has upside to around the 48.25 level, maybe 48.50, possibly double top around 48.70. But up there, the stock has a ton of resistance. So if you own it by any chance, you could probably try to ride it out to that 48 level. But once it gets there, I'd really tighten up the stop. I'm not saying it's a short because it's a strong gap up here, but a ton of resistance around 48.20, 48.5 in that vicinity, give or take maybe 10 or 20 cents. So watch that one for CVS. If you're holding it, congratulations. Trail your stop loss, maybe lock in some profits, but there should be a wall of resistance around the 48 to 48.70 level. Let's take a look at Broadsoft, BSFT. This is another stock making a really robust move today. It's trading up at 34.52, closed yesterday at 27.90. You do have resistance in this 34 to 35 level. However, the stock could be a fade around the $35.75, $36 area. So again, it could be a fade candidate. I'd look for at least a little bit of a pullback around that $35.75, $36 level. I think the stock's a fade candidate if it gets there. Very well could get there this morning. So we'll see if it does. Next stock I'm looking at here is Sirius Satellite Radio. Stock has upside to $2.30. That is it. So do not overstay your welcome there. If you do own a trail, your stop loss, hey, you never know what could happen. But again, I don't think this thing gets above the $2.30 level. That should be pretty good resistance going forward, from what I can tell. That's pretty much it on my radar this morning. We'll see how this all plays out. Once again, take it slow. There's a lot of news coming out of Europe, but the markets for the most part are holding up fine. They actually creeped up another point here as we spoke, as I've been speaking here. So futures are now up 6 points, and you can see the dollar coming down a little bit more towards that $82 level. And dollar down, market up. You guys know how that story goes. With that said, everyone, have a great trading day, and we'll see you on the charts tomorrow. Take care, everyone.